Howdy ho! How you doing there, sixth graders? Today we're going to look at the last of our three big Greek philosophers, and we're going to talk about Aristotle. He invented tots. I wish. I mean, who doesn't love a good tot? They're delicious. Anyway, let's talk about Aristotle. Aristotle is the student who also teaches. That's right. Socrates taught Plato, Plato taught Aristotle, and Aristotle taught a lot of people too, including Alexander the Great. It's a whole legacy of students and teachers. Whoa. So he was not just any student, he was a student in the academy for 20 years. I mean, some of you stay in RLC for 10 to 11 years. 20 years? That's a long time to be a student. Plato himself referred to Aristotle as the intelligence of the school. He was the brains of the operation. He was really into logical sequences, and one of the things that they mentioned in the reading is that he is the developer of a logic technique called the syllogism. And it's a process where one can basically figure out that an idea is true based on the assumption that two or more other ideas are true. So, for example, if I say that all mammals are animals and all elephants are mammals, therefore I can assume that all elephants are animals. Makes sense? So it's a method of analysis, and a lot of his research and a lot of his ideas really are the basis that future scientists and philosophers will use to develop the scientific method, namely our favorite, Sir Isaac Newton. He was also big into government. Not a lot of pictures of him. That same sculpture keeps coming up. Anyway, and he really spent a lot of time analyzing what type of government was the most effective. I mean, heck, he was Plato's student. He probably had a lot of homework on the subject. And like Socrates and Plato, he wasn't a big fan of democracy, which is pretty ironic since, he was from Athens, the birthplace of democracy. He had made a whole form using logic and reason of analyzing types of government, and ones like correct forms and deviant or bad forms of the same thing. So if you have one ruler, a good form is a monarchy, like a king or philosopher king. A bad form is a tyrant. A democracy is a correct form for many rulers. A deviant form is an anarchy. Get the idea? So, but through all of his analysis, he comes up with a type of government called a constitutional monarchy, which is kind of similar to Plato's Republic in that you have a king who rules with limits on his or her power, or queen who rules with his or her power, limits on their power through a constitution, a set of laws. This is pretty much what the British put in effect throughout much of their history, that they had a king that's power was limited by a constitution. So there you go. They must have been pretty big fans of Aristotle. Aristotle also challenged a lot of ideas on religion, just like Plato. He saw the universe as this always moving, eternal thing, and promoted the idea of a first mover, that there wasn't one God or one necessary group of gods who were controlling everything in the universe, that everything was, all of our choices, all that happened in life was left up to us. There wasn't a fate or a destiny that the gods decided for us, and that everything was put into effect by the first mover, thinking like what starts the Big Bang that puts everything into creation. Aristotle calls this the first mover, and we're going to see that future schools of religion and philosophy like deism, which was the religious belief of Thomas Jefferson, and humanism, an idea that's going to be really big in shaping the Renaissance, the idea that all people are essentially good, come out of Aristotle's teaching. Pretty neat. And he's a big teacher in the exploration of the sciences and math. I like this quote by him, that excellence is never an accident. It is always a result of high intention, sincere effort, intelligence execution. It represents the wise choice of many alternatives. Choice, says Aristotle, not chance determines your destiny. So if you want to be successful, you have to choose to be successful. Well, one person he taught to be successful was a kid by the name of Alexander. Philip of Macedon hires Aristotle to be the tutor to his son Alex, who he is the heir to his throne and ruling Macedonia, which he rules as a tyrant. And he teaches Alexander all about Hellenism, Greek culture, Greek ideas. He teaches him all about Greek perspectives on art, plays, religion, philosophy. He essentially grooms him to be Plato's philosopher king. And then we're going to see that Alexander will take the ideas of Aristotle, and when he conquers much of the world as one of the greatest conquering generals in history, he's going to spread Hellenism, spread the teachings of Aristotle. So in many ways, one of the reasons why that Greek culture was so widely spread and influential is because of a good teacher working with a good student. Yay, Aristotle and Alexander. Well, I guess you could say a great student. Anyway, so the three philosophers we learned about did not support the idea of democracy. Shock. Even though they lived in ancient Greece. Even though they lived in ancient Athens. What? So, with that in mind, and what we know about democracy on all ends from our own experience living in a democratic republic and what we've learned about Athens and the Roman Republic and so on and so forth, is democracy the best form of government? If so, why? If not, what is better? Defend your answer. I can't wait to read it. Have a great one. Like Alexander, I will talk to you tomorrow on Friday. Bye-bye.